Hey, everybody. Welcome to Boston Has Entered the Chat. If you love this show, make sure you check out Hold My Banner on NESN as well. Ante Campbell and I give you the latest on the Celtics and everything around the league as well. Hold My Banner can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, here we go. Let's enter the chat, shall we? Boston has entered the chat. Travis Thomas here with my main man, George Balekji. How you doing, bro?
Doing good. You know when you do the hey, everybody? You know who I picture?
Hey, everybody.
Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. Hi, everybody. I just picture that every time.
Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, and I held in my laugh so hard when you did it. It's good. It's good vibes. Everyone loves to see Dr. Nick.
Well, now we got to get
Everyone
some
loves to
Duff
see Dr.
beers.
T.
Let's get
Dr. Trav.
Let's get some Duff beers up in here.
I'm down.
Hey, coming up, don't look now, everybody. Everyone stay calm. But the Bruins are hotter than fish grease.
Oh, gosh.
As you see, we'll debate if the playoffs are upon us or not. Plus, the Patriots are spending in free agency. No doubt about it. But are they spending properly? That's the question that I'll pose to GM George here, as I like to call him. And the Yankees' best players out for the season. Are the Red Sox going to mess around and kick in the door on the AL East? We'll talk about that as well. And remember, Boston is in the chat. I always say this, we're interactive. So we need to hear from you. Email us, thechat@nesn.com. You can also tweet at us using the hashtag NESNChat. All right, George, let's get into it because the Bruins, they've won back-to-back games against two playoff teams in the Lightning and the Panthers.
They did. 2
points back currently right now of the final wild card spot. I brought this up to you, so here you go. Here, we saw this on NESN, George. Best snow day ever.
That was sick. Well done by the NESN
It was very
squad.
well done. I was trying to get my kids into this. Now, you and I just talked about this not too long ago, right after Marchand was traded. And I brought up big win against the Lightning, George.
Don't look now.
Do you think that
4-0.
He said, no, much to do about nothing. We're playing for the future.
Yep.
And then you look up and they beat the Panthers.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just saying, George, anything is possible. Is it possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Statistically, the math checks out.
Okay.
Yes.
But
It's just going to be really hard for me to buy into a team that the top four on their blue line is Zadorov, Yoki Haru, Peak, and Mason Lerai.
There.
You're missing the key guys there. And then even departing with Charlie Coyle, Trent Frederick, Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
Got to remind, there's other guys that were dealt. Brazo.
Yeah.
Four that come to mind off the rip. Like 4 NHL players where you got Casey Middlestat in return. Yeah, you got Yoki Haru. You got some other guys that could play and a bunch of prospects. When the issue with this team was play on the back end, IQ, health, turnovers being bad in their defensive zone, and then lack of depth scoring. Where they got better down the middle, but you swap out Middlestat, who has less of a 200-foot game than a Charlie Coyle. But I do like that addition. And also, if you look at the win over the Florida Panthers, who is Florida without? 2 of their top 6.
That's fair.
No Kachuk, no Brad Marchand. Now, of course, it's still Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reiner, Rodriguez, and Sam Bennett. So I'm not taking anything away from those wins.
Who got beat up, by the way? Can we just talk about him getting whooped?
Can we take a moment? Zadorov just like ragdolling him. And you know how amazing that was? Exactly. Didn't you take boxing classes? I expect a better punch than that.
Knock if you buck.
Zadorov taking Sam Bennett out of all the Panthers, let alone a Panther, and just absolutely flossing him. Just beating him into the ground.
Fantastic.
The frustrations of all Bruins fans were pent up into Nikita Zadorov.
Yeah.
How relieving, gratifying, joyful that was to watch.
Fantastic.
Of him to grab Sam Bennett, who sucker punched Brad Marchand. We'll never let that go. They can be teammates. Brad could say it's all good. It's not all good, bro.
It will never be.
He sucker punched you. If you squared up, face to face and won, that's fine. Game is the game.
Yeah.
But sucker punched you and almost killed you by you falling into the boards. But for Zadorov to grab him, just pulverize him into the ground, take him down. Bennett didn't have a chance, especially after the week that Bruins fans just endured. That was therapeutic to watch.
Yes, it was.
Zadorov has had a rocky start to his Bruins tenure. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been the best. He knows that. He'll admit it, being in the penalty box, bad turnovers, all that. Dude, you did right. That's the moment of the season for me.
Yeah.
You look back, 2024, 2025 season was a letdown. The Zadorov beating the pulp out of Sam Bennett, come back next year, switch it up, have a reinvigorated and healthy roster. Like, that's a moment, man. And that's big for Zadorov, like, looking up to the stands in TD Garden and shouting, like, all right, guys, I'm here. I get it. I know what you need from me. Here are the things I can do. Especially in the same week where they lose a Trent Frederick. Frederick would be that guy. Zadorov is now that guy. So I know we started the convo talking. I love you brought up the fight. Just watching that clip, dude. Like, it was therapeutic. You never wish ill will on anybody, but they're the people you're like, I'd like karma to come around.
Sure.
Sam Bennett's one of those.
He's one of them. Yeah, and he always will be.
And it wasn't even karma. It was the game.
It was the game. You're right. Listen, I like what you said about that. We could look back, and that's the moment of the season, and it very well could be, because that was satisfying to watch. That's why the people that don't watch sports or don't follow sports or don't like sports, I can't trust them, because you can't watch a fight like that and say that's not therapeutic, to your point, and cathartic, and like help us all feel better about what's going on. But I actually hope you're wrong in terms of looking back and that being the highlight of the season, because I actually think the win for this team will just be making the postseason.
Yes.
Being able to overcome all the things that they did, from a coaching change to your captain being traded to several of those players who were on that Stanley Cup team now being gone. All those guys are gone now. So there were a lot of, I guess you could call, lowlights in this season. So I think the win would be making the postseason. We know the standard is the standard around here, and it's usually not that, right? The Bruins making the postseason is automatic. And then you're hoping for a cup run. So I understand in a way you're lowering the bar, but for this season, okay, fine. It is what it is. If this team's able to get in the postseason, that is a win in and of itself. When I watch this team, George, they seem faster. They are younger. I just think they're playing inspired hockey. Beating the Lightning was not a fluke. I knew it wasn't. I was not bold enough to bet on or to predict them beating the Panthers. But once they did, it validated how I felt coming off that Lightning win. And I'm looking at the schedule as we talk now. I see Senators. I see Red Wings. I see teams that are in front of them right now in the postseason chase that they're going to play heads up. What more could you ask for?
Good point, man.
I think this team has a shot. Now, what gives me a lot of trepidation here, George, because I always say everything comes back to gambling for me. Vegas is never really wrong. I don't love these odds. To make the playoffs, Bruins are 6-1.
Yep.
That's not great.
Nope.
To miss the playoffs, the Bruins are minus 1,100.
And you know what that minus 1,100 is? There's no such thing as locks. That's a lock. Right? Like, that's, you look at minus 1,100, you're like, all right, that's a lock. But that's one where I'm not going to put 1,100 to win 100.
Right.
I'll take the spread on that one.
Well, I would take the shot at the 6-1, but
exactly.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, either way to think about it.
Right.
And I kind of get it. Look.
It's a lock.
I'm not worried about the Rangers. They are a joke of a team this year.
I know.
They continue to piss me off.
What's up?
And if I can just eliminate them from my memory of 24-25, I would. So in a way, Bruins fans, I can relate to you guys. Like, you're upset with this past season as I am with this Rangers year.
Yeah.
They're still tied with them. The Canadians continue to ascend.
Yeah.
You would also need the Senators and Blue Jackets to falter towards the end. And to your point, the Bees will face the Blue Jackets. They'll face the Red Wings, who they're
the Canadians
in front of right now.
Guys.
I know.
Yeah.
But I just think with how good the Red Wings have been
and
their depth of scoring, with the Canadians continue to rise, and that's a team that's been a long time in the making. Mm-hmm. A lot of draft picks, Suzuki, Caulfield. Oh my gosh, how can I blank on the brother? Cole Hudson. Mm-hmm. I could not blank on the guys from BU. There's no way. That'd be wrong of me. And then also have the Sens and Blue Jackets ahead of them. That's what's tough for me to wrap my mind around. Mm-hmm. So I understand the odds. This is a team that, on the road in Tampa with the tough week they had, you can really admire their just response to ownership and front office going, guys, this season's a loss. We're selling. We're getting rid of leadership. We're getting rid of the fighters. We're getting rid of the best players. We're getting rid of the long tenured guys, the leaders in the locker room.
Yeah.
And they had that like dead cat bounce at Tampa. Mm-hmm. Shut them out. Lightning, first time they got shut out at home, I think in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? So they do that. And then to step up like the way they did against the Panthers of all teams, they stepped up. And this is a team that you can see rallying. If they lock in like this and what happened at the deadline wakes them up, then that'll be it. It's just the lack of depth is there. Now, Cole Koepke, Marcus Stellick, scoring goals, along with the David Pastrnak. Nikita Zadorov, I know he's an empty netter, but having a goal against the Lightning. Like him having 2 big back-to-back games. Then when a middle stat wakes up, Pavel Zacha having a goal in this run too. Like, then okay, fine. When you get your second, third line showing up, get someone a response from the fourth line on top of what you get from Pastrnak on the first, cool. That's a recipe for success. It's just, again, T, it's hard for me to see them maintain this over the course of how many games they have left.
Well,
I like the fight, though. I love that they don't roll over. I love what Mason Larrai is saying after games. I love what Nikita Zadorov is doing on the ice. And I like seeing Casey Middlestat step into a role that's going to be really important. He's going to be a long-time Bruin. You don't give up a Charlie Coyle for a Casey Middlestat, a guy that's younger, faster, with the skill set.
They looked at.
Yeah, and go, you know what? With the contract, no.
Yeah.
They're looking at him. We got a guy in the building. That's a long-term play. It's not just a solution for the remainder of his contract.
Well, bro, I even remember when I got here to this market and the talk at that time about the Bruins where they were a little older, longer in the tooth, that championship window was closing.
Yep.
And then they go out with not huge expectations and have one of the greatest regular seasons ever a few years back. And we know the rest of the story. They flame out against the Panthers in the first round. But that was a team that overachieved to the highest of levels. Mm-hmm. Because, I remember the thought before that season was, well, this might be it, and they may not be that good, and they may be too old. And they went out and beat everyone's butt in the regular season. So I sort of look at even this situation where I say, okay, the win is for this team to make it to a postseason, given everything they went through. This season along the way, all the bumps and the bruises. Well, if they do make it and they lose in the first round, whoever, now you have a lesser of a draft pick than if you sort of lose out and you don't make the postseason. So I see the flip side to all these coins. Yeah. But again, just from what thine eyes are showing me, what my eyeballs see when I watch this team, they just look inspired. Obviously from the trade deadline, but and sort of the new look here, but also they're faster and they're younger. And I just think in a stretch of a month before the regular season's over, that could carry over. That could be something that is very sustainable, very tangible, that could mess around and get them into the playoffs.
I think what you brought up about the speed is really key to me, where this is a team that even at the deadline addressed an immediate need. They were simply not quick enough, not smart enough in the offensive zone, not creating enough opportunities. They were not helping out the back end. And look, if your blue line's banged up, what's the best thing to do? Keep the puck in the offensive zone. And they got better with that by having Zacha, Middlestat, Elias Lindholm right down the middle. And just even think of the swap where Charlie Coyle has a more complete game, 200-foot game, where Casey Middlestat's more offensive. But you literally got better, literally by 13 points, where Middlestat assists alone has more total points on the season than Charlie Coyle has between goals and assists. So it's things like that. And you just see not just the chances, but the high quality scoring opportunities that they're now delivering to themselves.
Sure.
Better shots on goal, better in the offensive zone. And just down the middle, they got deeper in an area where it's needed because his offense was not up to par. That's what I think is the big thing. And that's why I think we also are seeing this bounce. This is a more modern way of hockey they're playing. They're going to lead. They're going to lead. They're going to lean on Pastrnak, Zacha, Lindholm, Middlestat, and the guys that follow.
Right.
And I think that's what's big. Geeky playing well. Again, if they get some of the Costello Koepkes to chime in with goals, and then if they get points from the blue line. So that's what I like of the shift. And they made a philosophical change at the deadline. Mm-hmm. With all the centers, the forwards, the 6'1", 190, 200-pound guys, instead of bringing in 6'4", 230s, the bigger dudes. No. They made a philosophical change of we need goal scorers, we need finesse, we need skill set, and we need shots, and that's what they did, and we're seeing it pay dividends right now in the 2 wins. So I see it, again, and you know what? Like, there are times you and I will be talking. We'll talk with the whole crew. I like to be right.
Yeah.
I got my confidence. I got my ego, you could say it. There are times where I don't mind being wrong.
Yeah.
I would not mind being wrong about the Bruins
in the
sure.
Postseason. Well,
if they make it to the postseason, are you kidding me? That is such a successful season.
It feels healing. It feels like a situation where, man, this season's been so rough, and then they just they sort of persevere. It's a story of perseverance.
Yeah.
By the way, even if they miss it, George, if they're in it to the end here, with everything that this team has gone through, I think you can hang your hat on some of this stuff and look forward to the future. Remember that wording that they used, and we talked about this, where, the fans are like, well, this is a rebuild. And the Bruins are like, no. This is a retooling.
Yeah.
Right now, as of right now, it does feel as though that's the case. We do want to hear from you about your thoughts on the Bruins, these 2 big wins against the Lightning and the Panthers. You could tweet at us using the hashtag NESNChat, or you can email us, thechat@nesn.com. In fact, what's the Bruins' plans now? The new-look Bruins after this trade deadline. We check in with some of the NHL's greatest to help us find the answers on NESN's The Hockey Hub podcast. You'll hear from current, former Bruins weekly, as well as the latest going on around the league and the hockey world. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, George, I teased this at the top of the show. Clearly, the Patriots are spinning the bag, but is it the right way? So I saw this. Chris Godwin, which we know, left money on the table from the Patriots to stay in Tampa with Baker Mayfield. Here's a tweet here per rap sheet. Godwin left 20 M's on the table because he wanted to stay in Tampa Bay. But the Patriots, according to Shefty, were coming at him hard, trying to get him here to New England. So it kind of begs the question, how should the Patriots build around Drake Maye? From what you're seeing right now, are they sort of going about it in the right way?
They are. They were willing to get up to. Now, $20 million is a big number.
It is.
Of course, he went to Tampa on a 3-year deal, so that comes out to around $6.5 million a year. And that is above the market value that was expected for Chris Godwin. This is a guy seeing 22, 23. So they were willing to overpay to an extent for Chris Godwin. I think that is a situation where you have a guy that was drafted by the Buccaneers, has won Super Bowls with the Buccaneers, was on track for the best season of his career playing with Baker Mayfield, and had a devastating injury. But at that point, there's something where you're getting paid. You want to focus on your rehab. You want to focus on continuity instead of learning a new playbook, new setting, new everything. So you stay in the building. And even Chris Godwin said, he's like, I've never made a decision on money. For him, he said it was about loving who I play with, who I play for, where I play, coaches, ownership. That's a guy that's a vet and has been to the top. And with all of it, too, and I think this is the reality that Patriots fans have to be reminded of. They don't want to come here, even when we're overpaying. Who is closer to being in the playoffs, the Buccaneers or the Patriots?
Buccaneers.
That's it, too.
They can win that division.
Where he's like, okay, yes, I could get $6 million more a year. That's a lot of money, especially for a guy like Chris Godwin. This is his last time cashing out.
Coming off an injury, bro.
But at this point in your career, a guy that has made good money, has played on the franchise tag, has gotten that guaranteed money before, I think that's what that read is. And that's a reality, too. I'm not trying to say it's okay to suck and for players to pick less money because they're closer to the playoffs. That is a reality for the New England Patriots. I just see that Chris Godwin passing up even the Patriots for him fighting hard to get him.
Sure.
I understand where it is, and it is a decision with a lot of these guys. It is more about money. And the reality is, do you want to go to New England? I make the jokes. Do you want to live in Walpole? Do you want to miss the playoffs? Where that's a team that hopefully is in the postseason by next year.
Yep.
Or with the guy Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Continuity stays in Tampa's playbook, no matter how many OCs they lose to go there. So I get the Chris Godwin side. For the Patriots side, that's what you want, though. They were willing to give him $6 million more a year. That's a lot.
We knew they were going to overpay for a lot of I mean, Cam Robinson's still out there as a left tackle, though. You'd likely have to overpay for him, too, if they get him.
Milton Williams was looking at buying a shore house on Myrtle Beach. I don't know if that's in North Carolina, but I assume it's by
South Carolina.
Oh, okay, so whatever. It's Carolina.
Yeah, you're close.
And then the Patriots came in and said, not so fast, my friend. We got the Cape.
Right.
Like, that's the thing if they're willing to match and they're overpaying. Yeah. And like I said, the Mac Hollins signing's underrated, but I get he's long in the tooth, like you say. Okay, they couldn't get Chris Godwin for $296 million this year.
Right.
What if they get a combination of a Brandon Cooks and a Cooper Kupp for around $20 million?
Sure.
And that's not the long-term solution like you want with a Chris Godwin, but that is a short and long-term benefit for a cheaper price, and then we could see them
Yeah.
go ahead. The bigger need is left tackle than it is at receiver. As insane as that sounds, it is the much bigger need.
Oh, it's not
offensive
insane.
line. They know what they have with right tackle.
Yeah.
They know what they have with their right guard. I literally don't know how center, left guard, and left tackle are going to look.
That's a problem.
Those are such volatile positions where you don't want it.
Yeah.
How healthy is David Andrews? How durable will he be?
Right.
Is it Cole Strange at center? Those are the two options.
Is Will Campbell an actual left tackle?
Yes. And can he play left guard? He's a big dude.
Right.
Okay. Is Layden Robinson your left guard?
Fair question.
Or are you going to go with the free agent? And then I just don't trust Vidarian Lowe. He did a good job. That's fine. He's a backup left tackle. So that's my thing of, you hear this about Chris Godwin. They're willing to go there, and they're definitely making that offer, also eyeing swinging big at Milton Williams. They made the payments where you needed it. They got better in all the areas that they sucked at. Laid it out on Foxborough Rush. Check that out wherever you get your podcast or watch them. They swung big on Godwin. They struck out.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not just, well, we're in the conversation, because look at Milton Williams. Look at Spillane. Look at those guys.
By the way, you're Milton Williams making all the money in the world, wanting to go to the beach. North Carolina beaches are the Outer Banks, just for your reference.
Myrtle Beach is South Carolina.
Myrtle Beach is South Carolina.
Now that
And by
I
the
know.
way, Outer Banks in North Carolina,
Never
beautiful
been.
beaches.
Yep.
I've been to all three.
OBX.
Okay, let's get a little insight here. I've been to OBX, good call, Myrtle Beach,
Okay.
and the Cape. It's not even close to Cape Winds. Boom.
Cape's great.
Cape wins.
One way in, one way out. I
Not
don't
even
jive with.
close.
Brother.
Not even close.
The Vineyard,
I haven't been there yet.
Nantucket.
Haven't been there yet.
That's the thing, too. If you're Milton Williams, you're making 104 mil.
Oh, he could do them all.
You go to Nantucket, but I mean, let's be real. These people are in a different world than us.
I don't know.
He calls Robert Kraft. Hey, Robbie, RKK. You got a buddy with a house on the Tuck on AC? And RKK will be like, yeah, give me a second. You know, it's free of charge. He's out there.
Man,
Come on.
That's the life.
I'd rather be in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's say this. So we talked about Godwin just to kind of get into this big picture.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure that I do like that the Patriots are doing as it pertains to building around Drake Maye, and even on the defense, which is building around Drake Maye too, it's veteran players. I mean, I just think like we already knew how young this team was last season, and that was part of the growing pains. Some of it being matched with a young, inexperienced head coach in Drake Maye, which was a recipe for disaster. But now you bring in a Mike Vrabel, who's a veteran head coach. He's been around the block. He's been hired. He's been fired. He knows kind of how it all works. And then you take this young team and you start infusing these veteran players like they're doing now, both on offense and on defense. And I think it's a fine line. You got to be careful. You don't want to get old, right?
Yeah.
Literally. You don't want to bring in too many old guys. But it's a good balance to have the young talent that they have that's still trying to figure it out, and then veteran guys who have been around this league, been in different locker rooms, different cultures, most notably all kind of tied to this coaching staff in one way or another, depending on where the stops was from Tennessee to Detroit and so on and so forth. So I think just in that schematically, that strategy, bringing in veteran players, whether you overpay or they get a move on the cheap like a Mac Hollins, which I don't love that move, but I at least get it, right? That's a veteran, big body guy. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
So I like what they're doing. I still think, though, you have to figure out the offensive line now. That's a sense of urgency. And you got to get around to getting a true wide receiver one sooner than later. I don't think you have a choice now but to kick that can down the road, because there's who the hell is it? It's not growing on a tree. You had a shot at DK Metcalf. You lost out on it. Okay, cool. Godwin, we already were debating, is that really the answer? We know he's staying. So you're just not going to get a true wide receiver one. And I don't believe there's one in this draft. As much as I love Travis Hunter, he's going to play corner too, okay? That's just a reality.
Yeah.
So unless you can convince this kid to come in and play wide receiver, who may not even be there at 4, by the way, you're not really solving any issues, and he's still a rookie. You don't know what you're getting. Ted McMillan, same thing. So I don't think they're going to be able to really solve that this offseason, but you got to do it soon. Offensive line immediately, defense immediately, which they're doing.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure out a weapon for this kid ASAP.
Look at the Super Bowl champions are the Eagles.
Yeah.
But look at the 4 final teams in the NFL.
Okay.
Eagles,
Yep.
Commanders,
Yep.
Chiefs,
Yep.
Bills.
Yep.
One of those 4 had a true elite wide receiving room. And there's value in having, I wanted DK Metcalf heavy. There's value in having the apex predator on the outside, that number one where defensive coordinator circle and go, how are we going to stop this guy?
Right.
But look at the Commanders getting to that point, driven by a quarterback, driven by an aggressive defense, and with Terry McLaurin as their one. For the Bills, dude, it was Khalil Shakur, checked out Amari Cooper, and Keon Coleman, who can't get open.
It was like by committee.
Keon Coleman can't outrun my grandmother.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
And then even just look at for the Chiefs to get to Super Bowl. It's Mahomes. It was an elite defense. Right. And obviously they had Hollywood Brown back, but like that was just a volatile wide receiving room with the washed up Travis Kelce.
Yep.
So I understand the want. I'm not saying it's something they have to keep kicking the can on the road. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. They need to leave this draft with 2 wide receivers drafted and another pass catching weapon of some sort.
Tight end.
Running back. Exactly.
Okay.
But like that is going to be a more long-term plan to solve. Because also like I have given the Patriots their flowers in free agency.
Yeah, you have.
This is not sustainable. You can't pay a 29-year-old off-ball linebacker, a.k.a. Robert Spillane, all this money every year. You can't do the same with a 29-year-old Harold Landry. You can't do the same with a 34-year-old right tackle. No. You have to hit on draft picks. But it'll be draft by draft, piece by piece. Okay, Xavier Restrepo, Jalen Noel, boom. That's your Chris Godwin. That is your slot receiver. Jaden Higgins, maybe Ted McMillan, Pat Bryant, Trey Harris. Okay, that's your outside. Maybe those are guys that they can draft.
Yeah.
And then look down the road. Jeremiah Smith is going to be a top 5 pick, but you just don't know what they could do.
Sure.
Flipping pros to get into that conversation and then get a rookie scale contract on a rookie receiver. That'll be after they pick up a 5th-year option on Christian Gonzalez and as they get ready to do that for Drake Maye. So like, there's long-term planning. There's short-term planning. And man, maybe there's a gem in this draft. DK Metcalf is later in the draft. Like think about these big name guys. Chris Godwin was a 3rd round pick.
Right. And
you want to pay for him. Cooper Kupp, what was he, a 5th?
Yeah, he was
maybe
late.
Later.
He was late.
Right?
Yeah.
Devontae Adams was a project. It took him a couple years. Mm-hmm. He's going to be great with the Rams. Look, that's a thing too of we get caught in the 1st round picks. If you can draft, if you can develop. I'm a little hesitant with the wide receiver coaching room, but that's a point too. If they did it right by free agency, you still got to do it right in the draft.
Yeah.
Because how do the Eagles do it? They've drafted. We've gone through it. I think they drafted 17 or 18 out of their 22 starters in the NFL. Yeah. They draft, they extend. They draft,
I was going to say they retain their talent as well. Yeah, listen, you make a lot of great points there. One thing I think of note, too, while a young quarterback like a Drake Maye is developing, sometimes by getting a true number 1 wide receiver, you do stunt their growth in some levels in terms of they are trying to force feed said player, whoever it is, whether it's DK Metcalf or whoever. I think for Drake Maye's development, this is why it's so important to get him an offensive line. We need to be able to see this kid develop and learn to go through his reads and go through his progressions. And look, if you are going wide receiver by committee, all he is in this wide receiver room. Yeah, I don't have a true number 1 alpha badass, but one thing's for sure: whoever gets open, I'm going to get you the ball. And if he has time to go through these progressions and he has a clean pocket, hello offensive line, then you're actually helping him see the field more, distribute the ball, learn different guys, how they come out of breaks, come out of routes, where they want the ball placement. He's learning these things as a young, impressionable quarterback. So then when you go get a dude or two, in the Eagles' case, to your point, you already know what to do. You already know how to get that done. So listen, again, it's not like I'm saying I don't want Justin Jefferson. But what I'm saying is you're clearly not going to get that, at least this offseason. So you're just going to have to kind of figure it out. But one thing that can't be compromised, and it sounds like we're both in agreement here, is the damn offensive line. It's a protection. That's why I'm like, for now, just figure that out. That's another reason why I'm willing, and I don't know, it's still early in free agency, George.
Yeah.
But I am so willing for this team to draft a running back, too. Now, I've been talking about Ashton Genty till I'm blue in the face, but there are other running backs. This is a very good running back draft. I think you can help Drake Maye out a lot with that as well. If you can improve your offensive line and add a dynamic running back into the mix of this offense, you're helping them out. And it sort of, it sort of negates or at least helps soften the blow of not having a true number 1 target out on the outside. Does that make sense? There's other ways to be dynamic offensively, I guess is my point.
1,000%. If it's an RJ Harvey who you can get in the 4th or 5th round, really good pass catching back, good pass pro, another weapon out of the backfield. Or if it's more of a guy that, like a Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina.
Fine. I like him too.
That is more of a running back,
Yeah.
throwback, just bell cow. Then
Needs
that's
the
fine.
carries. Yes.
Offensive line.
That's it.
Jameer Gibbs wouldn't be Jameer Gibbs. And we've seen Saquon Barkley without an offensive line.
Right.
Chicken and the egg.
Yeah. That's a good point. Hey, by the way, Shohei Ohtani has won again. This time it's off the field, though. We'll talk about that in 30 seconds. But if you want more on the Patriots and the NFL, Drake Maye needs help. We just talked about how he can get it quick. Get even more on NESN's football podcast, Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, George, let's get right to it. What's trending? 3 minutes each for 3 of the biggest stories in sports. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes, because him and the Chiefs have done it again.
Did I call this or did I call this?
You really did. You really did. I know you like being right, but damn it. You were so right on this. The Chiefs reportedly created $49 million in cap space after restructuring the contracts of Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, the big fish here, because he's making all the money in the world. So please, sir, as someone who called this, take your victory lap and tell us what this means for the Chiefs.
Well, what I think is brilliant is that before free agency started, they were $18 million over the cap. Traded away Joe Tooney, they created the space. They made some signings too, but they had to create space for this once again, including affording Trey Smith on that franchise tag, which is going to give him 23 fully guaranteed. They restructured Patrick Mahomes, who's under contract till 2031, and Chris Jones, who's under contract until 2028. And when this happens, and you hear like what the Bills did with Josh Allen, like how did they create this money? This was basically taking salary and roster bonuses that were going to be paid out later in the contract, turning it into a signing bonus. But when you put it into a signing bonus now in the year of 2025, it prorates the cap hit, which is that number, over the course of the remaining lifetime of the contract. So what the Chiefs did to create $50 million in cap space for Patrick Mahomes, they're going to take that, spread it out over the next 6 seasons. Why some teams don't do this is because that's cash. That is an owner writing a check of money they have now. They need to be liquid to make this happen and giving it to the player. They don't always love to do that. That's real money. When it comes to roster incentives, roster bonuses, all of this, like when they hit certain marks and they get that money, okay, that is from the profits they make as a team. That is from the cap numbers, the TV deals, the money that they have throughout that year. They don't have to pay it till then. No. That's upfront money. That is like a credit card in a way, where the other way is paying it straight up cash right now. You can pay with a credit card before the interest kicks in. You better pay off that balance, or you just give them cash right now, and everyone's happy at that. You don't got to stress it, but you need to have that cash. The Chiefs have done it again. We did the joke on Fishbowl, Rush Tank, Foxborough Sharks, whatever you want to call it. But I was doing the pitch of getting Ronnie Stanley and affording him, and I said, look, Patrick will create the cap space. And I said it too. They're going to do this with Chris Jones. They're going to do it with Mahomes. I won't be surprised if they do this with Travis Kelce too. They owe him $17,000 this season, but not guaranteed. Make it fully, create more cap space, and maybe get actual wide receivers that they could trade for. We'll see.
Well, we talk about building.
Always do it.
We talk about building around Drake Maye. I mean, the Chiefs, they have so much pressure to just build on the fly constantly.
I like that.
Around Mahomes. At least the Patriots are in a position of advantage of like, we are in a rebuild. We're building the culture. We're starting from scratch. Here we go. The Chiefs are trying to maintain this almost impossible bar of excellence, and they have to do it. They have to kind of rob Peter to pay Paul in a sense. So, credit to them to not just give Mahomes and Jones and all these big stars all their money and just kind of figure it out. All Mahomes and a bunch of dudes will win, i.e. Patriots to Tom Brady for a lot of years. It seems like the Chiefs are being way more aggressive in let's be practical about this and keep some talent around Patrick Mahomes. That's how you keep the rings flowing. We'll see if that's the case.
It's how the modern NFL operates.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
And they have a sense of urgency from Patrick Mahomes. Teams that don't do this, the Cincinnati Bengals. And look what they're doing.
Well, exactly. That's a great point. All right, let's move to baseball. This was confusing to me because I saw these hats all over my timeline for like a week. So the MLB New Era overlap hats are not going well. By the way, the Rangers team hat was removed because it was inappropriate.
So the design
what
for
is
people.
this?
So the design for people. It's also a dumb design idea because what I love about MLB hats is just the logo, right?
Yes, it's simple.
Objectively, a clean look is that Boston B, the New York Yankees logo.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the iconic stuff.
Absolutely.
And even there's some hats out there, like the Orioles have a great one, the Twins, right? What New Era did is take Texas, put it on the front, like for the Rangers.
Yeah.
And they also put the team logo. They did it with the Red Sox, the Yankees.
All these teams.
So when they did it with the Texas Rangers, it blocked out the X.
Right.
So you have a big T and then Texas without the X.
Yep.
Go ahead and Google it.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with the Angels. Blocked out the G. They have a ANA-ELS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone didn't think this through, or they did. I think it's the funniest thing in the world.
I think it was trolling from the beginning.
Brother.
I think they knew exactly what they were doing. I'm going to tell you another thing. I think
Pretty genius.
I think the hats are ugly.
Oh, they're hideous.
It's just they're stupid.
Like
okay?
the Diamondbacks hat, if you read it, it's like Ariana. Yeah, if your name's Ariana.
Ariana Grande would love that hat.
The Braves hat is the Rise. Because it covers the V. Orioles is just, you see the logo.
O's.
The Red Sox hat is Boban.
There you go.
Like I think that's the best part with this. I'm just scrolling through them, dude. This is
it's brutal.
And you know what? There are people with these hats that are Angels fans. There are people with these hats that are Texas Rangers fans.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I'm a Texas Rangers guy.
Okay. Fair.
And you know what? That's what it is. What it is.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
The Astros one is good too. It's Astros. Just Yeah.
I'm not a big hat
Miami's
dude.
is fantastic. It's MMMI. MMMI.
I'm not a big hat dude anyway, so it doesn't affect me. You wear hats. Like, you care about this. I don't care. I have a peanut-shaped head, and I have not, for my entire life, this is a true story, I have not found a hat yet. I have gone into, what's it called, lids? I've gone in, like, hat stores back when malls were a thing. Remember that? I would go into the mall with my friends because they'd be like, come on, man, you got to wear hats. I was like, I'm telling you, man, my head, it's the way it's shaped. Hats don't look right on me. They're like, we'll go into lids. I went in there, tried on hats, to the point where my friends who were trying to force it, they go, yeah, man, you just don't look right in a hat. I don't know what it is. So I'm not a big hat guy anyways, but despite the fact that I don't wear them, I have eyes, and I can see what's ugly. These hats are stupid. New era. You got to be better than this.
If I'm the Rangers, I lean into it.
You can't let that go, can you? I'm going to let it go. Don't believe me? Watch this. Shohei Ohtani and his dog, Decoy, can't make that up, are coming to Fortnite. So, GB, Shohei and his dog, where my dog's at, are in Fortnite. I mean, listen, a lot of celebs have done this. Travis Scott has been involved.
LeBron, I think, has been in it.
I mean, Shohei's the latest, man. Dude's winning on the field and off the field. It's unbelievable.
This is, like, baseball should love this because that breaks into a whole new audience and just how global Shohei is.
Yeah.
What I love about Ohtani is, like, apparently he's just, like, all he cares about is baseball. But he doesn't only care about baseball to the point where you don't see him. He's like, oh, yeah, put me in the game. What do you need me to do? All right, show up for a day. Fine. Scan me and put me in.
Right.
This is huge. Fortnite, that's people that don't care about sports. That's people that don't go outside. And they're going to love that Shohei's in it. And then you have people that love video games, love baseball, love Shohei Ohtani. Dude, he just always wins, man.
They don't go outside?
They don't go. They just play Fortnite all day.
Mom, I need some more bagel bites.
That's exactly it. Dude, between what he's getting from the Dodgers when he actually gets paid and what he makes per year off the field, like he's already pretty much a billionaire.
Yeah.
And you get stuff like this, like just it's good to be Shohei, man.
It is.
Biggest athlete in the world, not named Messi, Ronaldo.
Sure, not a non-football player. I'll be honest with you. I actually think this does illustrate the greatness of Shohei. We know on the field what it is, but he is so big off of the field, but he's also great. And why I say this is because he's such a big star, and this Fortnite thing is a great example, that it almost forces MLB to become better marketers. Like, you and I talk about this all the time. Major League Baseball and the NHL both struggle at times with marketing their stars and marketing their game.
Yeah.
Now, credit to baseball, they've made changes to the game that help speed up play. We love the pitch clock. Like, all these things they've done work. So good for you. Check. But they're still not marketing a Fernando Tatis, a Juan Soto, a Bryce Harper, a Shohei Ohtani. They're not marketing these guys properly.
Yeah.
And you look up, this dude is so damn great. He markets himself.
Yep.
Like this Fortnite move, and to your point of what you're saying, like, yeah, what do you need me to do? I'll show up, I'll do it. He's game. He's open to doing these things. And it forces MLB to be like, well, damn, we got to put Shohei out in front more. Yeah, no Shaq, Sherlock. You should have already been doing that.
And I wonder with him because he's like in the images I've seen, like he has a backwards hat, so no Dodgers logo. He has a jersey that says Dodgers on it. But I think, like, again, to your point, this is a Shohei thing. They don't need sign off from MLB. He controls his name, image, and likeness in this sense. And it's him in different suits. You don't see anything MLB affiliated. It's just Shohei being smart. If MLB was smart, they'd partner up with Fortnite.
Oh.
And it's one of those things. MLB needs Fortnite. Fortnite doesn't need MLB.
Right.
Fortnite can use a Shohei, though. Like, he's bigger than Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That's what's insane about him. He's bigger than the Dodgers. He's bigger than the sport. He's his own brand.
He's his own thing.
That's what this says about him to me.
Man. And also,
I would love to see what the bag is.
Shout outs. The bag's got to be crazy. You know it is. Shout outs to his dog, Decoy, too.
I love that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll do it. Let me bring my dog. They're like, sure, we love it. What's his name? Decoy. What a great name, too. Shohei's cool, man. I am sick and tired of the Dodgers winning everything. No, I ain't going to lie. In fact, I mean, listen.
$100 million a year in endorsements himself.
Oh.
That's what Shohei makes. And then on top of that, though, he has like off-field investments where he's pulling in around like $400 million total. Okay. Like owning land, movie stuff. Yeah.
Now, look, I don't want to start anything here, but I did just mention how tired I am of the Dodgers winning every damn thing.
Yep.
Well, in 30 seconds, there could be a new sheriff in town. All I'm saying is, don't let the Red Sox mess around and get hot. We'll talk about it on the other side. But first, stream the entire Red Sox season with a NESN 360 annual plan. It's available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month, paid annually. And for a limited time, get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit NESN360.com to sign up today. Okay, George, I went there. I'm going to say it with my chest. Garrett Cole, Tommy John, out for the season.
Yep.
Oh, so the Yankees, you lose Juan Soto. You get Max Fried. You're going to be all about pitching, eh? Well, Garrett Cole, your best pitcher, is out for the season. Getting that Tommy John. So, I mean, it just begs the question. I don't think it's arrogant here. I think every team in the AL is kind of asking the same thing. We'll just stay in the division. Can the Red Sox mess around and win the AL East, George?
Definitely. Ooh. I already thought that was in play. Garrett Cole's done for the season with Tommy John. Luis Gil is going to be out 4 to 6 months.
All right.
They're relying on a healthy Giancarlo. Now, the lineup got better. They added Cody Bellinger. They added Paul Goldschmidt, which is an upgrade for home runs out of the first base spot. Like, they went the last 3 or 4 months of the season without a single home run from anyone that played first base. Not DH, like straight up on that position. My thing with this, though, is like Bellinger is a good ad, lefty bat, especially for the short porch. Maybe Austin Wells makes a leap. Paul Goldschmidt is still a big swing and miss guy. Doesn't get on base much. Maybe they get something from Jason Dominguez if he plays a full season. He dealt with his injuries last year. Of course, when he got back, it was an oblique. He could be a 20-60, 20-70 guy. But it's a lot of maybes with the Yankees. Yes, they have Max Fried. Yes, they have still a really good ace. But no Garrett Cole is a huge hit. And no Luis Gil. Yes, they have Devin Williams. They have a good bullpen. But, man, Garrett Cole is one of the best pitchers of baseball, in baseball for a reason. Then you look at the Orioles. They went all in last year. They lose Corbin Burns. They let him walk.
That was a mistake.
Grayson Rodriguez is dealing with an elbow right now. He'll start the season on the IL. So they have Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton is 42, Kramer, That's their top 4 of the rotation. They have a deep lineup. Like the Orioles have the deep lineup, but we've seen the last few years, they just fall off at the end.
They do.
And then with the Blue Jays, it's just I'm still not like Gosman and Berrios are reliable.
Yeah.
But like Max Scherzer, like, all right, he's the 4 guy now. Then you look at the Red Sox. Yes, Bayo's banged up. Yes, Cutter Crawford's banged up. But Crochet, Houck, Bueller, that's still a very real thing.
Absolutely.
His bullpen's a very real thing. And their lineup, now with Bregman slotting into it, and we can see what happens defensively with them. Christian Campbell's swing, he needs to get his timing down, but it looks good, man. He hits line drives, like rips line drives. It's a wide open division. Cole going down changes everything.
Yeah.
I am the biggest believer, as crazy as it sounds, in the Red Sox, because what Bregman does, he's dependable, he's reliable, he's consistent, and that just opens up so much with the lineup. So, as much as I'll go, Trav, you're crazy. Trav, you're crazy. Once Cole went down, it's like, all right, I feel like this is it'll look like the Red Sox steal the division. I think this is theirs to lose.
Oh, okay.
If Garrett Crochet makes it the whole season, they should win the division.
That's definitive.
Could you imagine saying that about the Red Sox last year? But they've done it right.
Well, they
trading for Crochet.
Yeah, I could have if they had an off season like they had this season. Yeah. That was the issue, right? They didn't have the off season we had hoped for the past few seasons, and then they didn't do anything at the trade deadline as we had hoped for the last few seasons. I think both of those things change. Obviously, we see them with a really good off season. This one, you could call it great. Some do. And I also think come trade deadline time, I've been saying it from the rooftops. I think this team is just missing a bona fide, that's the dude closer.
Yeah.
I think if they can get a closer at the deadline, watch out. I'm with you on the AL East. In fact, I looked this up. I mean, the Red Sox last season were a few games below 500 within the division, okay? Yeah. But the Yankees, who won the damn division, were 500 in the division. So they weren't great. The Orioles were really good in the division. And to your point, they have really created a brand now and a pattern of fading down the stretch of a season. And then you go and lose Corbin Burns. What the hell are they thinking? That's going to really come back and haunt them. He was their ace last season. Like, he had a really good season. So I think they'll take a step back naturally. Obviously, the Yankees with losing Cole. And again, I'll have you look at this too, George. I think from a skipper standpoint, I would have to give the advantage to the Red Sox as well. I know you're not a Boone fan, and obviously Cora is – I would take him over Boone. I would take him over any manager in the AL East, quite frankly. I think that'll pay dividends as well with the Red Sox. My only concern is the same concern every team has. I don't think they're particularly deep, and so injuries concern me. But if you are looking at injuries, you already have a head start over the Yankees because, I mean, if you told me who could you take out of this Yankees team that would really crush them, Garrett Cole is the number one answer.
Yeah.
It's not Giancarlo Stanton, who has a history of injuries. You're just waiting on him. It's not Max Fried, who just got there 5 minutes ago. It's this monster. Garrett Cole is an absolute unit. And him being out for the season, I mean, that opens the door for everybody, not just in the AL East, but I would expand it, George, to the AL. I mean, there are a lot of young, really good, dynamic teams in the Royals and Guardians. I just think that the American League is wide open, and if you're telling me that this Red Sox team can win it, why the hell can't they win the AL? Am I crazy to suggest that? I mean, if they win the division, why not?
They very well could finish with the best rotation in the American League, too.
Bro.
And it's the same of, like, the Yankees lost Cole. If Judge goes down for a substantial amount of time, like, the Yankees are cooked. And I just don't trust the Orioles' rotation. The Rays have Shea McClanahan back. But like, let's see that all rotation have someone that can be a dog and a guy that goes 190, maybe 200
and he's
innings
got to stay healthy.
Exactly. And that's what it gets to me is that for their starting pitching to be so strong with Crochet thrown into it. Now, the Orioles have a good bullpen. But again, it's just that the Red Sox are deep. And I understand what you say with the injuries. But say something happens in the middle infield. Cedane Rafaela. Say something happens in the outfield. They got the guys like the Christian Campbells and the Roman Anthonys. They have the versatility there with the Jaron Durants. Something happens at third base. Say to Rafael Devers. All right, Bregman goes over. Then at second base is Yvonne Grissom. They have depth everywhere, except for the catching spot, really. But like that's so many teams in MLB that it's 162 games. It's a long time. No one's going to make it out 100%. People are going to get injured at some point. Do you have the guys that can hold it down? Eat up innings. Let's talk pitching right now.
Yeah.
Eat up innings with Cooper Criswell's, Richard Fitz, Quinn Priester's, Patrick Sandoval's when he's healthy. They have that. Don't forget Garrett Whitlock. He should be in the pen. I like him in the pen. I don't want him being a starting pitcher.
Me too.
He can eat up innings, though.
Yeah, he can.
And the Red Sox have that luxury.
Absolutely. By the way, you can see the gambling stats at the bottom here and the prices. To win the AL East, Red Sox nearly 3-1, plus 270. To win the AL outright, which is what I'm talking, Red Sox 8-1. So, if you like betting, you're welcome. This is begging you to bet on this stuff. And then if you really want to go cray-cray and you're sick and tired of the Dodgers winning everything and you think them Sox could mess around and get in the World Series, baseball's dream, by the way, back-to-back World Series. Last season, Dodgers-Yankees. This season, Red Sox, Dodgers in the World Series? Are you kidding me? Red Sox to win the whole shebang-a-bang, 18-1. I'm not telling you to bet it. I'm just telling you what it is.
You can find Dodgers over Red Sox like 35-1.
Ooh.
I have Red Sox win the AL 10-1.
Ooh.
I have it.
You already have it? Man, well, I'm going to end this show.
It was just
so
like they got Bregman. Why not?
All right, well.
Ante threw it out as like a crazy. I'm like, dude, you're nuts. He's like, am I? And I looked at him and I was like, you know what?
Okay.
The AL's wide open.
Well, we know what I'm about to do. So with that, I bid you adieu. Inside Boston has entered the chat for George Balekji and Travis Thomas, who's going to go bet this right now. Until next time, peace.
Later.